Hey, what's up everybody? Bdf 44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so story going around right now of an African-American man whose son died in some type of situation involving the police. And from what I gathered from the situation, the father later on in the day ran down with his vehicle a deputy of some sort. I don't know if it was the same deputy. From what I understand, he may have viewed the dash cam of the situation involving his son, and then from there got in his car and hit the first cop he saw. I don't know if that's how that went or not. It's a little discrepancy on that, if he actually got the cop that did the shooting or if he just ran down whoever he saw. But you know, I saw footage of his situation in the courtroom where he stared down the deputies, put his head high and stared down the deputies in the courtroom as they were leading him out. I saw footage of his brother, who was also in the courtroom, essentially saying, "I just want my brother to know I'm here. I just want him to see me." It's a lot of pain in their family, having lost the young man. And then furthermore, the father acting out this way also brought about a lot of pain, but pride for a lot of people in my community, black community, who are a lot of people have been long calling for this type of behavior from us as it pertains to the police, for them to have continuously killed our people in whatever way, however it goes. It gets to a point where black people just say, when are we going to start making them feel the same pain they feel, make us feel when they kill one of our own? And it's one of those situations where I just look up and I say, I don't think that's the way God wants us to do it, but not everybody's engaging in what God wants us to do, and we need to understand that in our walks of life, especially, you know, as it pertains to what we're supporting. You know, people are throwing their lives away. At the end of the day, that's a battle you can't win. You ain't gonna be able to kill enough cops to make yourself feel better. They're just gonna keep hiring more, friend. That's the God's honest truth. You may think that you are going to jail for a worthy cause, but you're not even denting the issue. Killing a random person wearing a badge is definitely not going to invoke anything that's otherwise going to bring your loved one back, or put yourself in a position to where you're seen as respectful, or make you feel like you've gotten back at who, what, and however it went. You're not going to get back at them because it's an employment. It's just like any other job. They lose an employee, they replace it with somebody else. It's not about necessarily you getting back at their gang like it's some type of street situation. They may have a blood brotherhood, but at the end of the day, they're just co-workers. And that's one way we have to look at it. We have to look at it that way, or else we'll find ourselves throwing our lives away for an empty cause. And you make yourself feel better, maybe, if you wired that way. When they kill your loved one, maybe kill a cop or two, maybe it make you feel better. But the truth of the matter is, you're not actually doing nothing. You ain't doing anything that really puts a dent in what it is that ultimately happened, or what could be potentially willing to take place later. Whatever could be possible, rather, that may take place, you ain't stopping it by killing one of their people. They're gonna still do what it is they do, because the training is the training. They view you the way however they do, and they're just gonna keep hiring people that are wired to do this to you if that's the intention. If that's what they're intended to do, they're gonna do it anyway. Pulling a father away from his kids or killing a person in a uniform is not going to bring your kid back. Nor do I imagine the person who did that expected it would. But just the same, he didn't really get justice for his pain. Didn't really do that. And until we start viewing this properly, we ain't never going to be able to get into the crux of what could be a solution for our bereavement. There is a way, I'm sure, to get your justice and to get back, so to speak. But this, I can assure you, does nothing for you. You're going to sit in jail for killing a random person who just so happened to be wearing a badge at a certain time in their life. I can assure you that ain't helping you. Sitting in jail for the rest of your life, that ain't helping. We know what we want, we just don't know how to get it, black folks. That's the God's honest truth in a lot of cases. We know exactly what we want. We just don't know how to get it. We want justice, we want vindication, we want our people to stop being killed. We want to be respected. Some of us want to be feared, but at the end of the day, you ain't going to get nowhere killing a person in a badge because they killed your son. It's not the equivalent. It's not the equivalent because they don't care that much about one another as you do about your kid. And most importantly, if you don't get the person that shot your kid, you really ain't got no damn justice. Looking at them as a gang may be safe as it pertains to the numbers that they're throwing at you when you go up against them. But once you start talking about the loyalty and the alignment of brotherhood and all of that, that just depends on the people themselves. It depends on the precinct. It depends on how tight they are with one another. It depends on a lot of different things. They may not even like that dude that you killed. Like, it's just, it doesn't equate. It doesn't equate. And brother's gonna spend the rest of his life in jail mourning his son. And he's gonna spend a lot of them years understanding. He's gonna spend a lot of them days understanding that he didn't do nothing as it pertains to justice for his child. He may think it right now. He may have a lot of people start celebrating him right now for doing that, because in theory, we just want this to stop. And if this is what's gonna stop it, then we support that. But at the end of the day, ignorance can rob us of the glory of victory. In a lot of cases, ignorance can rob anyone of the glory of victory or whatever it is you got going on. Ignorance. The devil been robbing people by way of their ignorance once, poor soul at a time, and I'm telling you, he didn't do nothing as it pertains to keeping anyone else from being killed by the police, by he himself killing the police officer, and spend the rest of his life in jail because of that. He do nothing to save himself from what's coming, which is a lifetime behind bars, while knowing that the person who did this to your kid is still running around, probably to do it to somebody else. I mean, it's just, nah, man, nah. I understand what you wanted. You just didn't get it. You didn't go about getting it. We gotta stop letting the devil rob us of us. Robbing our whole lives away from us for our ignorance, for our fits of rage, for whatever ignorance, however it goes. We gotta stop letting the devil rob us of our lives, man. If you're gonna fight in an effective way. Get to the crux of do the homework to find out how the inner workings of what it is that's coming against you is coming against you. And then raise awareness with your voice about it. And do something to be a solution to the actual crux of the problem. You really want to hurt them? Raise awareness for how they operate and where their funding comes from. Start spreading the word about who pays them to do what they did that ultimately resulted in your son passing away. That's how you get these bastards. You attack them dollars. You attack that funding. You unearth them damn secrets. You shine a light on them sore spots. That's how you really do it. You start joining these factions of individuals who are already doing that, and you add to their numbers with a free life of focus, balance, and solutions. Not throwing yourself at a pawn and then holding your chest high like you didn't knock down the king. You ain't knocked down the king. They still gonna kill another son tomorrow. If black people really want to get back at the cops for killing their people, they're gonna find a way to raise awareness for what ultimately makes that possible. Dig, learn, act. Being stupid ain't gonna get you nowhere. You can throw your life away being stupid if you like. It ain't gonna get you nowhere. They still building cop cities. Sending these police officers to Israel to train on how to kill your son. You think killing one of them is gonna solve that problem? I'm telling y'all, black folks, we cannot be stupid, man. That's what it really comes down to. Our stupidity is going to be why they continue to have a foot on our neck. It ain't because we don't have the avenue from which to get it off of it. It's just because we continue to engage in stupid stuff. And support stupid stuff that works in the favor of the enemy. You cannot win that way. I cannot stress this enough. You cannot win that way. You can just make them more intentional on killing more of us because of your display. That's all you're doing. They got one more reason to be paranoid about the next black person that they see because of what happened there. That's not a solution, bro. Are we serious about stopping the issue? Or are we just going to continue to reinforce that they can continue to keep their necks on us? They keep their foot on our necks, rather. Because that's what we're reinforcing. Here's every reason to treat us as if we're the worst people in the world, because we're going to go about ourselves the wrong way and throw our lives away for nothing. So continue to look at us as no much better than that. Like, that's what we say every time we act this way. You know what was really a threat to these people? Honestly? Your discipline. Your togetherness. Your communication with others who will listen to you about what it is you've learned when you find out. That's what Black Panthers, that's what these people truly, truly feared. Not no damn random person going out killing one random person. That's acting the same spirit that they engage in. That ain't what's going to help you. That's not going to help your people. That's not going to make somebody say, yo, these are people that need to be respected. Yo, these are people that are going to change things. You ain't going to change nothing that way. That's more the same. I have to ask, are we serious about solutions? Or are we just interested in inflicting pain because of pain? Because if that's the case, you might as well just shoot your son. Because that's the same energy that killed him. If some action-chasing moron joining a faction that is enforcing horror upon communities that they're not from, in a lot of cases. A lot of cases. Looking to follow orders of oppressing people, silencing people for their freedom of speech in current times. You might as well join the force. You one of them. Brainless, ain't moving in no kind of strategic way that's going to be a solution to nobody. Just holding a gun, looking for somebody who wants in trouble so you can shoot it off. You might as well join the damn force. There's going to be a lot of people who are good cops who are not going to like what I said. And you're going to have to understand. This is not about whether or not you're a good cop. It's about whether or not what you do derives from the enforcement of slavery, because that's exactly what it is. Officer, overseer, that's where the word comes from. Your job is to protect property, wealthy people's property, by any means necessary. So the job itself, however necessary it may be, because a lot of y'all gonna make the argument it's necessary, and I'm sure, in a lot of cases, yeah, definitely. But to the crux of what it's really about, it's just about protecting property, man. Protecting property, protecting wealthy people from consequences in a lot of cases. You're not really arresting people who are doing a whole lot of bad a whole lot of the time. You're really not. You're arresting people who are gumshoes out here in a lot of cases. Gumshoes. Just like homeboy who shot one of your random dudes or ran down one of your random dudes. That's what a lot of y'all doing on the streets as cops. More of that energy. You ain't getting to the crux of these issues. When was the last time you arrested a Zionist whale for genocide? Ain't y'all doing that? No. All right, then you're not really getting a bad guy. like, let's just be honest. You're not really getting a bad guy. You work for the bad guy. He pays your bills. Why is poverty so prevalent around us and people feel so necessary to be street pharmacists? And where are they getting these drugs from, so to speak? Where do they come from? They come from those guys that you take your orders from. Why in the hell am I looking at you as some type of savior? You ain't cleaning up the streets. You know who dirty the streets. If you do your homework, you know who the bad guy is. You work for him. And what am I supposed to do? Just sit back and be stupid and all of that? Just like, well, you know what I mean, it's fine because you got a badge or something. My mom was a cop. That shit don't move me. That doesn't move me. I know that they're good cops. It's a bad job. You can be mad, you can stay mad. At the end of the day, it's a bad job. It's riddled in bad energy. You're taught to kill people. In a lot of cases when they don't deserve it, you brutalize people unapologetically and are covered for it by the same people who are covering people who are committing genocide. I'm not interested in this shit anymore. I'm not warped by the propaganda that I'm supposed to respect this anymore. If you're an awful human being taking on a bad job and want to be a good person, you got to quit the bad job, fam. Period. Quit the bad job. They ain't gonna like this. I know they're not gonna like this, Lord. I can hear that in my head. They're not gonna like this. But look, man, I am just as tired as anybody else of our people being brutalized in the streets, of our people being treated poorly because we're desperate and want a little more than what we're able to receive. That is following the same cultures that were basically told were ours and ours alone. That were invested in by people who are not being held accountable by these same brute force energies that ultimately pointed at us. Until they start arresting some of these damn Zionists, as far as I can tell, they ain't really doing a good job. That's really where I'm at with it. You got people walking around our streets right now who have served in the IDF. A lot of them are training these police officers. It's a bad job, fam. Funded by bad people. Period. Particularly in these big cities. Now, in your little podunk neighborhood town, I don't know, man. Look, I don't know. I'm not interested, actually. I'm not even talking about you. If the shoe fits, wear it. If it don't fit, throw it away. Or give it to somebody else. I'm not interested. I'm from Los Angeles. We talking about the big cities, buddy. But just the same, in the small cities, you got to respect. I'm going to assume in a lot of cases that you aiming for my neck. And probably funded by some racist or somebody who doesn't really like me very much, or somebody who thinks the worst of me. Because 9 out of 10 times, that's what I found it to be. Factions of the Klan make up the whole town's police. I'm not interested in ignoring that reality just because it hasn't necessarily been unearthed. The energy is felt. We know who's under them damn hoods. In a lot of cases. It's y'all. And y'all give each other passes because you agree with your ideology that brutalizes us and gives passes to others who look just like you doing some of the worst things in the world. I'm not interested. I'm not interested. I'm not a bad person either for not being interested. At this point, I'm just a fed up black man who's sick of seeing black people die in the streets when there are people who are doing real evil stuff being protected by these assholes because they got the money to do it. You're giving these guys whole escorts down the damn street because they got enough money to pay you to do it. And you think I'm supposed to believe in your integrity? An Israeli baby-killing bastard gets to come to my country and have a police escort everywhere he goes on top of his own security, protecting him from the accountability of doing the worst things in the world. Because he has the funds to be paid to pay for that escort. And I'm supposed to look at the people who are escorting him and saying, man, they're doing a great job. Boy, their job is hard. I'm not sorry for any of this I have to say, man, because it derives from a space of pain and frustration, no different than that man running that cop down. You understand what I'm saying? We sick of this shit. We're sick of being treated as if we are the prototype for all that is wrong in the world when you got people who are essentially pouring into the deterioration of our image, not being held accountable for the god-awful things that they do, including that. And these same people want to run down on people who don't have nothing, who are trying to get something, and pat themselves on the back for doing a good job. I'm sorry, I'm not moved by that. You want to get to the crux of the problem, or are you just trying to kill pawns out here on these streets? The same thing I had to say to the cops, the same thing I say to that man who ran the cop down. Are y'all serious about getting to the crux of the problem, or are you just like interested in continuing to just mow down individuals who don't sway the tide in any of this evil shit that we're seeing out here? Because y'all know at this point, you clean up this one street and you got one more gangbanger, drug dealer on that same corner in a matter of 24 hours, ready to throw their life away. That is not the solution, and you know it. Y'all can keep on playing cops and robbers with the streets while simultaneously taking money from it. I'm not interested. Y'all both the same faction, the same corruption, as far as I can tell. Y'all both probably paid by the same people, armed by the same people. Cops and the robbers get the guns from the same place. I'm not interested, man. I'm not interested. You show me a good cop, I show you a bad job. It's literally it. Ain't cleaning up shit. Ain't even trying to. And you know it. meeting quotas and stuff like that at the expense of people, terrorizing people, leaving trauma in their hearts. Grown men who ain't afraid of nothing on these streets be afraid of these cops. How the fuck that work? Throwing people away for 20 years and giving yourself passes for every evil thing you do out here. Same thing, only you get to do it behind a badge. Same type of crazy, same type of evil, but they doing it behind the understanding that they're paid to do it. I'm not, man. I'm not interested, yo. Y'all gotta forgive me for just not being amused by any of this crap. And when something goes wrong, yes, I'll call the cops. Why? Because it's not legal for me to handle certain things. Legality is why you're so necessary. Legality. Which doesn't even fly across the board. Because if I have a certain amount of power, then if I do get arrested, I'm getting arrested going out the back door instead of the front. I mean, it's corrupt, man. If I do get arrested, I got like a whole month to figure out my arrangements and circumstances, and then I get to turn myself in. Like, man, get out of here with this crap, man. Rewarding people for having money. That's all it is, man. It's a reward system in this country, and the cops are supposed to enforce it. So are the Army and Navy and all of them. They're supposed to enforce this backwards and corrupt, evil ideology that aligns us with capitalism first and morality somewhere in the back burner. I'm over it, bro. The whole thing needs to just go up in flames, as far as I can tell. Whole thing. Because what does it trickle down to? Genocide. And an entire country or society of countries, hell, it's a few countries that are aligned the same way to brutalize people for standing up for what's right in 2025. Brutalize people for standing up for their own rights in 1965. Same old stuff, bro. Tired of it. Sicking dogs on people for standing up against crimes against humanity. It's ridiculous, man. All by the letter of the law, right? A law that deteriorates its own respect by the second when it allows for people to write into law all different types of wacky shit that allows for people to do evil things on high places. Why do I respect the law itself if a bad guy can determine what the law says? If some immoral, demonic, rich person can determine what it says in the law, why should I, as a person of God, follow said law? Shouldn't. Should I not? If I know what's righteous in the world, I should probably ignore said law. Should I not? People out here slaughtering children. And I'm following the law that allows for them to do it. It says I can't divest from them. Can't boycott them systematically with a group of my friends if we're a part of a business. We have to buy from people that are doing these things by letter of the law. It's like, man, you want me to respect the law when this is what's going on? You want me to respect those who enforce these laws by way of their gun and their brute force training that's supposed to kill people even when they're unarmed? I'm not interested, man. Give these cops so many damn passes. You can get into a high-speed chase with a cop. They T-bone you. You die. Several other people die. And they get to blame you for that. You get to use all type of maneuvers that are going to ultimately lead in people destructing and dying and stuff like that. But of course, it's my fault. Because I'm the one leading the chase, I guess. Running from you for reasons that likely have to do with fear in a lot of cases. Fear of what it is that you're willing to do to me if you catch my ass. Based on trauma that we were raised with, we're running from what we're afraid of, and all of a sudden we get blamed for whatever happens when they decide to stop that process in some deadly way. I mean, I'm just aware how corrupt it is, man, and not really interested in the few cases where it's not. The random one good cop over there and a fleet of bad ones. or the one time when they're necessary and the fleet of opportunities they have to just do brute stuff against my people. I'm not interested. You want to point out a good cop opportunity? I'm going to point out 6 bad ones. You want to point out where they're necessary? I'm going to point out where they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. You want to point out the one cop to save the cat from the tree? I'm going to point out the one that's doing something he ain't got no business doing that don't need to be imagined in my head because it's so ugly. Because you best believe it's plenty of them. Find something better and more constructive to do. Join a faction of people that are interested in getting to the crux of the real problem. That's all I'm asking any of these people to do. Both behind the badge and the hurt. Do something that's going to get to the crux of the problem. If you're serious about cleaning the streets up, clean it up for real. Find out where the root of the problem is and point your attention at it. Then when we clean up the streets, then we can have really good cops with a really good job because they're really not out here looking to protect property and hurt people. People. Which obviously don't mean nothing in this world we in. And that's why I'm like, man, I don't respect the authority the same way that I was raised to, because the authority doesn't respect humanity the way I thought it did. If I'm being completely honest with you. One goes hand in hand with the other. Authority don't respect humanity. Don't have no empathy for the suffering and for the desperate. Y'all mad at people who are moved by things that were promoted to them through music. But you're not interested in getting to the crux of who invested in the messages in the music. You're looking at getting the people who have been influenced by it. Who are basically victims by it in a lot of cases. Inflicted by poverty and trauma on these streets that you're supposed to be cleaning up and doing a terrible job of. Yeah, that part. I'm not interested, man. I'm tired. I'm exhausted for my people, bro. Honestly. I'm exhausted for black people. I'm exhausted for brown people. I'm tired. I'm tired, bro. It's no wonder a bunch of people are happy that this man mowed down a random cop, because it's not about the random cop. It's about us being exhausted of being hurt. Physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, we're tired of being told we need to respect the people who are killing us, who aren't hurting the people who are hurting us, really hurting us. Not even as much as raising awareness to the idea that this is what's going on. Telling us our problems are our problems because of us. Not telling us that those problems are being created and manifested by people who pay them. A lot of these gang wars are created, stirred up rather, by them. A lot of these people kill each other because they snitching on each other. Why? Because these are tactics used by them to be effective in destroying us. Enough. Destroying the desperate and misguided. Instead of those who are doing the guiding in the wrong way. Get over it, man. Stop asking me as a black person to support this. Stop asking me to respect this. When you don't have this relationship in a lot of these cases that we're talking about, or who I'm referring to, the people telling us to lick these boots, they don't have a relationship with them that they do, that we do. They don't know the first thing to respect in regards to our position. That detachment that we've been talking about all day, that detachment, that's what you have when it comes to this conversation in a lot of cases, people. You don't respect it. You don't know to respect it. You don't even know the first thing about the trauma that comes with it. But you behold with all of your arrogance that we're wrong for our position, with our understanding and with our experiences. Your ignorance, it fails you. It really does. You need to start listening to people who are telling you what our experiences is and clean up what it is that you support so much, instead of just saying it's fine as it is because it's not pointed at me. And as long as that's your position, you're not going to be looked at as somebody who's to be taken seriously. And that's for all you pro-police people out there who don't care to listen to the point of view of the people who are telling you that we're being terrorized out here, that we're afraid out here, that a lot of times we don't know how not to do wrong because we've been influenced by wrong our entire lives, and we just want somehow to be able to reach the levels that you're able to reach, be able to reach. And you can't without doing what it is we know, which is a lot of times no good. So, how y'all doing, man? What's up? What's up? I want better for them young fellas there, man. You hear me? 2 black brothers just walked past me. One of them probably 9, the other one 12 years old. They got a big brother who's 15. I want better for them, bro. I don't want their mothers and their fathers to have to worry about them, or them to have to worry about their kids. Every time they leave the house, wonder if they're going to get pulled over. Wonder if they're going to get shot at. Wonder if they're going to get taken down in some brute way by the same people who were sworn to protect them. I'm tired of this, bro. I'm tired of this. Having guns drawn on them because people look at them as incredible hawks by way of their training. Them as kids. But I promise you, in the wrong situation, they're going to be taken down by cops just because of how they look, because they're heavy kids, black kids, man. We over it. Stop asking us to be fine with this just because you can't relate to this. Understand you can't relate to this. That's your point of reference, is to know that you don't. And if you did, you would be thinking some form of this if it lasted long enough. The presence of lasting pain is also something that people need to start grasping when considering other people's pain. You can go through something for 5 minutes, or you can go through something all your damn life. And that all your damn life timeline provides you real perspective that going through it for 5 minutes does not. Respect the prolonged nature of tired nerves. When a lot of y'all who don't experience none of these things that we talk about incorporate that into the equation of what it is you're trying to understand, you'll really understand better. Because these aren't isolated incidents. These are time and time again, all life long. We're frustrated with these type of things and the various different things that we've been talking about. Prolonged suffering, prolonged frustration, prolonged outcry, asking for help, getting ignored, gaslighting, all these different energies. They last. And that holds a lot of weight within the perspective of those who are talking to you about these circumstances. If you are a good cop, my point of view is this: you have a wicked job, fam. You work for some awful human beings, and in a lot of cases are trained by people who want to harm people who may not deserve it or who may not know any better. There are solutions. Solutions, if people are truly looking for solutions that could fix the problem that ultimately they throw you at. But they don't want to find solutions because they want to continue to benefit from the chaos of it all. That's the reality of what it is that's going on in these damn streets. That's the reality of what it is that's going on in these communities. There are people who pay your way that don't want to see any of this really cleaned up. They just want to pat each other on the back for continuing to knock off pawns while leaving the circumference of what it is they benefit from intact. This is what I've come to understand in 41 years of life. My name is Bdf 44. Thank you all for watching. I'm out.